Mr. You're at
every revolution or every political movement.
What's the temperature in Arizona?
And having someone, okay, CIA, which is fucking for you to call me CIA when you know I'm not.
Everything was politicized. It was, oh, this is when we became the left versus the right. But both sides are trash. In COVID,
his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that like we're using money and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system.
Politician, you think they're gonna come out and tell me the truth? They was lying to my mama. They ain't gonna never tell us.
So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood or we see this every day. All the way up. These people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth.
What's going on in anyone's mind, but let's take it as a given that Gray's argument is true, that the argument to not have ID is that it would be discriminatory versus certain socioeconomic brackets or something. It's like
the world's greatest trial run of what people will do and what people won't do. And we are the only country on the planet that really fought against the government. A lot of it,
because you focus on 80-20 issues. I'm looking at the Epstein issue as we have 80% of the information we need to prosecute these people that actually did anything, but you're focusing on the 20% trying to take down Donald Trump, which you're never going to get. So I'm going to keep sitting here with a smug ass face on every single day.
I'll explain. Good question. I'll give you the answer. The Republican Party constantly talks about transgenders and transgender surgery to minors.
I'm mostly on the left ideologically, but I don't associate with the Democrats because they're not ideologically on the left. The Democrats are clowns, and they're also losers.
About to be any engaging conversation. It's not about to be any discourse about different political ideologies, what works and what doesn't. If that is the outcome, right? For example, I'm not going to go and just put myself in the middle of a KKK rally.
Verify me. I'm not a fucking Fed. They always do this. I'll say this, right? And they did the same thing to Nick. We've seen the video. They'll call people who are genuine and authentic Feds because
the interesting thing to me is that the ones that claim that they believe the Constitution are now trampling the Constitution. The ones that said they believed in the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, right, are now going against the freedom of speech.
leadership perspective.
They don't have no plan. They don't ever talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
I know it's super early.
So that happens
as I was out on the trail. Words can't express how excited you made me as I was out on the trail, working to stretch people's imaginations. It's clear that we still have a lot of work to do, even within our party, about making sure that we invest in kind of just doing the right thing sometimes. It's all good though. No matter what, whether it's Kim Paxton or John Cornyn, anyone would be better. I'm just saying. So again, I just wanted to say thank you specifically to the people of Dallas County. I love you so very much, and I woke up still heartbroken about everything that took place. I've got your emails, we received your phone calls about all of the confusion and the many people that just didn't get to vote. We have to fix this going forward. We should not have people being disenfranchised in 2026, even in Texas, specifically in a Democratic county. It breaks my heart. At the end of the day, we were about to file a lawsuit so that we could keep the lines open. The county party chair got it done before we did. And, you know, the judge did the right thing. Texas Supreme Court stepped in. So I just wanted to say again, thank you. I am back to work. I am proud to serve Texas 30 until January of 2027. And then let me send mad love to my pastor, Pastor Freddie Haynes, who will be the congressman for Texas 30. So God bless y'all.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Described him as one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
Welcome to the Man Cave. Welcome to the Man Cave. I'm Gray Mars.
It's Mia, not Maya.
I'm Ken Billions. What's good?
I'm Skeptic.
It's Rippy Unfiltered.
Mia, you made a video about Jasmine Crockett. So what's your thought? Was she robbed of this election?
No, she was never going to win. She was never going to win. She was never going to win. She's never going to win against, I mean, Obama didn't even endorse her. I knew the second Obama wasn't going to endorse her, she wasn't going to win. I mean, I'm not saying she's a bad person. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with her standpoints, but I mean, it was a pipe dream. She was absolutely never going to win at all whatsoever.
Well, she's saying that Republicans are cheating, is what she had to say.
So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County. Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do. And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why. So I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow. So I love y'all too. Thank you so very much for being here. Love you down. I love you down, Dallas.
So, Ken, you're in the middle. This was a Democratic primary. Do you feel like the Republicans cheated her?
No, I think Jasmine leaned a little too much on a celebrity, and I think she actually has a career in that, being like a political pundit. Like when I think you should stand on your own bottom line. Like when you campaigning and you chopping it up, I don't think you should mention nobody else. I think you should stick to your bars. Like when you're talking, don't even mention Republicans. Just mention your philosophy and the way that you see the world, and how the way that you see the world benefits the group that you're speaking to. But when I don't want nobody sharing the stage with me. So I'm not mentioning Republic. I'm not mentioning nobody. I'm just standing on my bars. But I think it would be actually better for her to go the Joy Reid route. I think she would have a big supporter base. I think she has set herself up with favor from the Shade Room crowd, which is 29 million people. So I think she would actually do very, very well, and she could probably inspire people more from that position.
So this is what she said after the election results, immediately after.
Their vote. We should all be standing together, Democrats, Republicans, and we should all be raising hell. But unfortunately, this was always the plan. And so I am grateful for this court order. And as Congressman Allred has already stated, we encourage each and every one of you to remain resilient. We cannot allow this type of behavior to be rewarded, because so long as they know that they can win, even if it means cheating, then they will continue to do it. So I am asking you, I am begging you to make sure that you go ahead and figure out where it is that you are supposed to vote, stand in line, wait in line, and if it means that I gotta come out there with you to wait with you, I will do that.
So, Mr. Rippey, I already know you're going to say whatever about Jasmine Crockett, but we had with Trump that people said some things happened with his election. Are our elections, is the integrity compromised? Mr. Rippey, I'm talking to you. She froze. Skeptic, can you hear me, Skeptic?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I won't play a clip specifically for you, but I'm going to go to you next. So this is what happened when a reporter was asked about who they were going to vote for, because Skeptic is in Texas. So out of all of us, she's the only person that could have voted in this. So I'm going to play this clip.
A fighter, and I was so ready to vote for Jasmine Crockett because I love her. But I voted for Talarico because we need somebody who can win.
Okay, Skeptic, how do you feel about that comment that the Democrats saying that they needed basically the white guy to run because we need someone that can beat the Republican candidate in Texas?
Yeah, I think that that white women and that brown people expect black women to come out and fight for them and do all the hard work, but when it goes down to voting time, they act like they can't vote for a black woman. But when it comes to having somebody come in and fight for a 5-year-old that's in a holding facility, then they want black women to come out and speak for them because they know that the job's going to get done. But in particular, with the white community, 70% of white people voted for Talarico, and I'm talking white Democrats. So I think that this is something that we've seen before in America. There is this different bar that they set for black women in particular. And I think that she was more she had all the requirements. She was well prepared. She has already been doing the job. She has been the one person that has been going head to head with this administration. So they didn't have an excuse. All they could say is, oh, well, I don't think that she's actually going to make it to the primaries. Well, of course you have to vote her into the primaries for her to make it there. So if you don't vote for her, then that means she's not going to make it. But I do think that there definitely was more funding for Talarico. I want to say he spent $25 million as far as like donors and how much he put into the campaign, when Jasmine Crockett had 5 million. So there's definitely a difference between donors and funding and how much backing they have. Like he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He was on that, late night shows. When you look at Jasmine Crockett, she wasn't given a lot of the same opportunities. So just to say that it was even, it's just not true. It's not factually correct.
I want to ask you one follow-up question, because they did say the Hispanic vote is what pushed Talarico over to be able to win, that Hispanics came out in droves in support of that. And you're in Texas, you're Hispanic. Is that something that surprises you, or is that something you expected?
So I think I've been looking at the numbers and I'm waiting on the exit polls, because the only exit poll that we have right now is for Austin, where I want to say it was 60 to 30. So 60 for Talarico, and I want to say it was 30 for Jasmine Crockett. I kind of want to see different areas because he's from the Laredo, South Texas, outside of Austin, El Paso type of area. And he did get a lot of votes there. But then you see very purple concentrated areas for Jasmine Crockett in Dallas, Houston, East Texas, a lot of different areas where it's Black and brown population. So I don't know for a fact. I know people have said that. I don't know how factual that is. However, I do think that there's still a colorism issue in the Latino community. Like, to say that that doesn't exist is just not true. And in particular, maybe Latino men have an issue with voting a Black woman into power. Maybe they have an issue with a woman being in leadership position, which I think is a very problematic thing that we have in the community.
Ms. Rippey, you can hear us now? All right, I'm gonna go to the next clip because it seemed like Jasmine Crockett already knew this was gonna happen because she was crying before they even got voted in.
All right. 6 years ago, no one. All right. She's in the window. All right. That's all right. That's all right. All right. I gotta get through this. 6 years ago, no one believed that I could become a state representative. We were outspent 5-1. Ooh. Yeah. We're outspent 5-1. There were a couple of organizations, progressive organizations, that were like, this is our candidate. We want to go with the one that the establishment does not want. One of the main organizations, and they all lined up together. They did. One of the main organizations was stopped. People said there's no way she's going to win. 6 years later. Yeah. Woo! 6 years later, a very short amount of time, I went from being the kid that no one thought could do it, who was out there hustling, knocking doors, putting door hangers at the apartment complexes, doing everything that I could. We were in the midst of George Floyd. Was that election or the other? No, it was that one. There was a runoff because I was number 2. I wasn't number 1. I made it to the runoff, and then they ended up killing George Floyd. People told me I had to go and get on the phones because we just didn't have the money. And I said, I can't do that. I gotta go do what I know is best. You don't know somebody's circumstance in the middle of this pandemic. I'm not going to be insensitive and ask for money. Instead, I'm going to do what I've always done. I'm going to stand with the people as they take to the street.
All right, that's a long video, but Mr. Rippey, so Jasmine Crockett has now lost. Do you feel like Talarico winning is actually good for Republicans? Do you feel like he stands a chance in the general election?
I don't think so because he's way too extreme, especially in a state like Texas. I mean, when you listen to some of his views and you hear him speak on certain platforms, you actually see this guy is actually really dangerous. But as for Jasmine Crockett, man, all I'm hearing are excuses. I mean, Ruben Gallego got outspent by Kerry Lake here in Arizona, not worth her campaign, 5-1. Donald Trump got outspent by Kamala Harris, and she still lost. I mean, that's all I hear is excuses. At the end of the day, I was just in Dallas. I don't know if y'all know that, but I actually posted about this on Instagram. I was in Dallas and I was asking this, and I was interviewing people, Black people in Dallas, and a lot of them say like she is not as popular. I said, make it seem like she is. People just don't like her. She's not authentic. On her platform, it's just anti-Trump administration. What are you going to do for the community? What are you going to do for your district? And for the most part, they never heard that stuff because whenever she's out there, it's always anti-Trump. She is not popular. I also think that she's inauthentic. When I met her a few years ago, she was talking like she's talking now. Then she get on the stage, she talking about, oh, these people on the right, they always talking about how Christian they is when they know they ain't been doing nothing. Wait, why are you talking like that? You're educated. Try to represent your race. Represent Black people, Black women better. Don't act like you're ignorant. You're trying to get the ignorant vote. And that's how people felt when I interviewed. I interviewed like 25 people or so.
Okay, so
and I also like to say about that too. Jasmine is a Delta, and it's 300,000 members with 1,000 chapters. When you're a part of a tribe like that, it's also on your tribe to get you over the finish line. right? The same way I believe Charlie Kirk got Donald Trump over the finish line, right? It's Jasmine Crockett's tribe responsibility to get her over the finish line. If she only had $5 million, her organization, her sorority is 300,000 members with 1,000 chapters. America's about tribe. It's not just you as an individual, right? It's the groups behind you, aka APAC, right? That gets things over the finish line. So Jasmine has a strong team of women in her sorority. And I don't know what happened in the logistics, but for her only to have only $5 million, to me, that says a lot.
But they did do what she said in Dallas, though. A lot of voting areas last minute, like the day of voting, changed, and then they said that they were going to go past 7 p.m. and that, like, Harris County, I think it was, and then they last minute were like, nope, we're not. Like, actually, you're closed, and then turned people away. So there was some discrepancy whenever it comes to voting, which I do think either because of whatever they mishandled the situation or whatever happened in the Dallas area. But I think, like, I don't know what you mean by the ignorant vote, but for sure she had worked federally. She had held a position federally. She has already been part of Congress. I know that so has Talarico, but he was an educator. She's a civil rights attorney. So she must know the law, and he was like an ex-preacher. So I don't know how dangerous he can be if he used to be religious. And actually, he failed at the last thing that he was doing about the 10 Commandments, because I don't know if you guys know or not, but we do have the 10 Commandments in public schools as of now, which was something that he was fighting for and failed at. So, like, if you want to, again, when it comes to Black women, all of a sudden the bar gets raised to an impossible, standard. But when it comes to a white man, when it comes to a white man, he could have been an ex teacher, and he's vying to be senator of the United States of Texas.
It's just normal. It's not an exceptional type of person. It's like she lowered us. She's very, very smart. I mean, she's highly educated, and I want her to promote that self of hers. Because, like I said, when I met her a few years back when she first got selected into Congress, she was articulate. She was smart. Why must you talk like, oh, they talk about they is over there? You know what? That's ignorant. That's at the end of the day, that's ignorant. You don't have to hold yourself to a high standard. You just have to hold yourself to like a normal standard. You don't have to go so low.
In fairness, Mr. Rippey, though, Trump appeals to ignorant whites, though. That's
what Trump is, though. That's what Trump is. Trump is not articulate. Trump is stupid as hell. That's who he is.
Mr. Rippey,
wait, didn't he go to Ivy League school? Didn't he
got part of the deal.
Going to Ivy League school?
But it doesn't matter.
Mr. Rippey, I got part of the deal, bro. I have his books. He's been in our life. I'm 42. He's always been there, right? When he talks, right, he appeals to the Rust Belt whites, Appalachian whites, right? He does not appeal to the class of white people that he comes from. So we can say that about Jasmine Crockett, but Trump purposely dumbs down what he comes from as a 1%er to make it seem like he's a hillbilly white man, and he's not.
Well, let's get into Talarico.
I have to respond to that. So Donald Trump is he comes from a high class, obviously, but what he does is he brings himself down to a certain level, which he can communicate with the average person. Okay, it's like I do on here. If y'all see me on Newsmax or Fox News, I'm speaking completely different than what I'm talking about. How I'm talking right now. That's what Donald Trump does. What Kamala Harris does is she speak broken English, talking about they is and these people all over there and all this other bullshit. She is catering to the lowest of the lowest of the denominator. Donald Trump is actually talking like a regular person, even though these people can be ignorant. But at the end of the day, you cannot sit there and deny the fact that she is an educated person. She can't go down a couple of notches. She got to go all the way down to the basement. And that's like at the end of the day, she lost. Black women say the same thing. Like she's articulate, she's smart, but she act like an ignorant hood rat. That's not cool.
Well, let's get to Talarico because maybe he was just great. This is Joe Rogan interview.
Okay. Well, my mother, so I told you I was born to a single mom. She was a preacher's daughter from Laredo down on the border. She left home at 19. She moved up to Austin. She met my birth father, who was a high school dropout and had a drinking problem. And that drinking problem sometimes led to being violent with my mother. And there was one night It was me and mom and my birth father, and he had too much to drink and got violent again. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And my mom decided right then and there that she was leaving. So she packed all our stuff. She put me in her little Ford Escort. She drove me to the hotel where she worked downtown. The manager let us stay in one of the rooms for a few weeks until we found a little apartment in East Austin. And mom, she took on double duty at the hotel. She fought for me at every instance, even when it was her own physical safety was at risk. And back then, this was early 90s, she could look over at the Texas Capitol and she saw Texas Democrats like Ann Richards, Bob Bullock, people who fought for the little guy, for working people who were forgotten and left behind. That was the classic Democratic Party.
Right.
And so I remember when I guess I was maybe kindergarten, and someone in school, they were talking about political parties, and I asked my mom what we were, and she was like, we're Democrats because Democrats fight for the people. That was what she said. And my mom is still a Democrat today, but I don't know how much our party is still true to that, but I do know that that's our historical legacy, is the party that fights for the little guy. And I think we're at our best when we do that today. We're at our worst when we stray from that.
I would agree with that.
So I still believe the Democratic Party can get back to those roots. I hope last year was a wake-up call, especially to the National Democratic Party, about what needs to change and how we need to be different if we're going to build a big coalition to take on the issues that we care about. But that's why I'm a Democrat and why I hope the party can get back to those roots.
All right, Mia, you're the independent on here. So hypothetically speaking, if you were a Texas Democrat voting in the primary, who gets your vote, Talarico or Jasmine Crockett?
It would be Talarico. I think the reason that Jasmine Crockett lost is really simple, is people didn't like her. They didn't like her personality. Half of your life and your elections and all of these things, your job, your opportunities, come from if you're personable and if people like you. And once people have a negative viewpoint of you, it makes it difficult to move forward. And unfortunately, Jasmine Crockett allowed the Democratic Party to put her in the ratchet bitch category, and she leaned into that. And unfortunately, you can't lean out of it. And that's not who she is. She's private school. She's highly educated. She is smart. She's articulate. She's hardworking. I mean, she sponsored 42 bills and legislation. She co-sponsored over 900, which shows us that she's willing to work with all sorts of people, and she puts in the time, energy, and effort. But people aren't going to see that because she comes across as a ratchet bitch. And unfortunately, she should have never leaned into that. It is okay to be a little classist and elitist when you have the education and the means to back it up, which she had. And she should have leaned more into being educated, being thorough, being hardworking. But instead, she allowed the Democrats to put her in that box. So now everybody has a negative viewpoint of her. Talarico was going to win regardless, because you hear Jasmine Crockett and you think of ghetto ratchet bitch, because that's what she presents herself on the Breakfast Club, on the Shade Room. She presents herself as a degenerate, which is the opposite of what she actually is. And that's the sad part, is that is the opposite of who she is as a person. And it's sad because she is hardworking, but unfortunately she lost because people don't like her. And it's literally that simple. People don't like her.
So, Skeptic, you brought up the voter suppression. So this is what they said about the voter suppression in Texas.
Well, Tiffany, we told everyone this morning on Daybreak about this change this year, this election day in Dallas County, requiring voters to go to a specific voting location. Well, we are already seeing the confusion this morning, including here at Fretz Park. We were talking to some voters as they were leaving here in the parking lot. Many told us they showed up here because it's where they always vote, only to be told they had to go to another location. I spoke with the election judge here. He told me there's been plenty of confusion because of this new change and that it was not in effect for early voting. It's in effect only today on Election Day. Now, complicating things further, two voters can live in the same precinct yet have different voting locations depending if they're voting in the Democrat or Republican primary. At Fretz Park, it's the location for only 2 precincts in the Democratic primary, but 5 in the Republican primary. So easy to understand why voters are confused and frustrated.
Well, this is the place I voted for the last 3 elections, and I get here and they tell me I have to go someplace else. And this happens every election. They have some craziness when you get here. I think this is on purpose and it's designed to make us not vote, and it should stop.
And that's something the election officials worry about. They worry that people are coming here, getting frustrated and saying, you know what, I'm just not going to vote. And that's what they do not want. So they want you to go to the correct location for these Dallas County voters. You can go to dallascountyvotes.org. Double and triple check your voting location before you head to the polls. So a lot of confusion this morning in Dallas County. I'm going to send it out.
Skeptic, you're in Texas. Is it true? Does this happen every single election?
Yeah, I think it happens more often than you would like to believe. And I think the interesting thing about saying that Jasmine Crockett presents a certain way is that Trump is 5-6 times worse. The man literally has been held liable for rape. He had literally cheated on all of his wives. The man cheated on his wife while she was pregnant. Not only that, you have the way he speaks and calls women pigs, the way he said to grab women by their parts, the way that he said he could walk into a changing room because he owns the pageant, talking about Miss Teen USA. So saying that somebody presents as something is kind of like it's very hypocritical to me. Whenever a white man can present as whatever he wants and still get voted in and be the president of the United States. But as a Texan, I will say this is it's sad to say that it's common, but it is common. They will change where you need to vote and what area you need to go to. And as a person who will call ahead and will be like, do I need to be here or here? Because I even know all the locations where I've voted from. I remember all the locations. So I will drive around and I will call and be like, is it here? Is it there? And I live in a small town. I don't live in Dallas. So even in my small town, they move the locations all the time. It's at a different spot. Sometimes you'll show up and you'll be like, I already have my registration and everything. And they'll be like, oh, we can't find you. Go to this spot to see if they can find you. And then they'll send you back to vote at the other spot. It's stupid.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Talarico. Talarico was asked a question about how Mr. Rippey, we know that, there's not a lot of black conservatives, him saying that black people shouldn't feel like they have to be loyal to a certain party. So do you feel like that's refreshing, him saying that? Does that make a Democrat understand more so bipartisanship?
Yeah, I would say so. I think he gave a really good answer. I'm just tired of all this race talk. At the end of the day, there are more black people leaning conservative by the droves. It's going crazy. Every time I'm at an event, you'll be surprised to know how many black conservatives are out there. Like, we're fed up with all this Democrat nonsense and they're pandering to us, talking about, oh, the white man this, all this other stupid stuff. We're done with it. So I'm tired of all this race talk.
Okay, I feel you. So is it that Jasmine Crockett maybe just wanted attention?
No.
How noble and sacrificial of her. Which is the real Jasmine Crockett, though? Well, the call for public service came and Jasmine answered. But back to that Atlantic profile, they saw something else in Crockett, a raging narcissism. And for a woman who claims to be so tough, she has exceedingly thin skin. They described her as highly conscious of her self-presentation. Crockett wore acrylic nails painted with the word resist and a set of heavy lashes over her brown eyes. The lock screen on her phone is a headshot of herself. And Crockett apparently thinks she should be able to control to whom a journalist speaks when they're actually reporting a profile. 4 days before this story was published, Crockett called me to express frustration that I'd reached out to so many House members without telling her first. She told me, shutting down the profile and revoking all permissions. Yeah. And yet another gem that speaks to Crockett's highly racialized view of the world. From the same profile, Crockett said that Hispanic Trump supporters had almost like a slave mentality. I asked Crockett whether she had ever regrets about her public comments. She raised her eyebrows and replied, I don't second guess. You know how that ends. Well, bless her heart. Now, she may be a.
Ken, did you just want attention? Did Jasmine Crockett just want attention?
Now we could talk about politics and all that, but all that white I ain't with none of that. That's white right? Because I know the history of Sarah Bartman. I know that like none of this is in good faith right here. That shit right there, I'm not with none of that. Talking about the nails, talk about the politics. Keep it at that. That right there is not in good faith.
With
Right?
her fake spray tan and bleach blonde hair that's falling off, bitch. Go get you some extensions and like stop talking about people.
Acrylics too.
Yeah, well,
I'm
what
sure
does it
she
matter
got
if someone
small
has nails?
acrylics too.
See, that's my problem with people is that you're showing yourself, you're showing who you truly are, and at the end of the day, this is what I'm saying. There is almost like this hatred. It's okay for everyone else to talk. That would have been a white woman or a white man doing the exact same thing. Oh, they would have like praised him for it, but all of a sudden it's a black woman and they have a problem with it. When you yourself, I mean, like you don't look that great, sweetheart. Like you kind of rough looking. You should, if you're jealous, go fix yourself up.
Megan Kelly damn near got a bust down. Okay. So I'm not with none of that right there. You could talk about, do you agree with the politics and all that? Even when Skeptic said Trump, you know what I'm saying, was smashing something when his lady was pregnant. That's bedroom business. That ain't got nothing to do with politics, right?
Yeah.
Because for all we know, his wife could have thought that was a kink. We don't know. Right. So I stay out of people's bedroom shit. Only deal with what your job description is. Trump's job description wasn't to be this moral husband. That's between him and her. Right. So I'm saying with that, how she just had her on the Summer Jam screen with that, I'm not with none of that. Considering how melanated people in America have been talked about. So I can listen to that and know that ain't about politics. That is feeding her image, right, to her base. I'm not with that.
I agree.
So Talarico, since he won some of his,
I haven't stated this enough to say this definitively, but there are interpretations of certain passages from the Torah where some folks will even say that there is some subtle instructions for how to perform an abortion in the ancient world, certain things to drink, things like that.
Before we go further, I want to acknowledge that our trans community needs abortion care too. Defending trans Texans is something we have to do every day at the state capitol. And you better believe I'll be giving sermons on that too. I want us all to be aware of is that modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are 6. Is both masculine and feminine and everything in between. God is non-binary.
So this idea that to be a Christian means you have to be anti-gay and anti-abortion, there really is no historical, theological, biblical basis for that opinion. So this idea that to be a Christian means you have to be anti-gay and anti-abortion, there really is no historical, theological, biblical basis for that opinion. And if you think about it from a Christian perspective, something interesting that Jesus does throughout his ministry is he is breaking first century norms about women. Talking with women, learning from women, having women lieutenants in his movement. And this was something that was kind of unheard of in the first century. The longest conversation Jesus has with anybody in the whole Bible is with the Samaritan woman at the well. And so this affirmation of women as full and equal people is a huge part of the Jesus movement, especially the early church. And then the last, I think, story I would go to is the story of Mary. Mary is probably my favorite figure in the Bible, the mother of Jesus. And, you know, she's an oppressed peasant teenage girl living in poverty under an oppressive empire as a Jew. And she has a vision from God that she's going to give birth to a baby who's going to bring the powerful down from their thrones, going to scatter the proud, who's going to send the rich away empty. I mean, this revolutionary song that she sings, it's called the Magnificat. And it's actually been banned by certain authoritarian regimes because it is so radical. But I say all this in context of abortion because before God comes over Mary and we have the incarnation, God asks for Mary's consent, which is remarkable. I mean, go back and read this in Luke. I mean, the angel comes down and asks Mary if this is something she wants to do. And she says, if it is God's will, let it be done. Let it be. Let it happen. So to me, that is an affirmation in one of our most central stories that creation has to be done with consent.
Do you guys think that he was the better choice? I guess we'll take a poll. Me already said yeah. Ken, did you say Talarico?
I ain't say none.
Which one would you have voted for?
I wouldn't
have. Mr. Rippy?
Me either. I would have stayed home.
Skeptic, what about you?
Jasmine Crockett, for sure.
So it's even. I mean, like we don't know who would have been a better choice, but Skeptic's the only one in Texas. But he does have a platform, and his main platform is basically top versus bottom. So I'm gonna play this last clip of like him and what he talks about.
Something broken in America. That's because the most powerful people in the world want it that way. Billionaires who want us fighting each other instead of fighting them. They spend so much time and energy keeping us angry and divided by party, by race, by gender, by religion, to keep us from realizing that there is far more that unites us than divides us. Because our unity is a threat to their wealth and their power, we will come together across party, across race, across gender, across religion, to take power back for ourselves and our communities. My faith teaches me to love my neighbor as myself. But the billionaires, they want us focused on how we're different instead of on how we're the same. I am tired of being pitted against my neighbor. I am tired of being told to hate my neighbor. They want us looking left and right at our neighbors instead of looking up at them. The biggest divide in our politics is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom. There is a deep hunger in this state and in this country for a different kind of politics. Not a politics of hate, not a politics of tribes, not a politics of division, but a politics of love. A love that can heal what's broken in America.
So
that shit's not tangible. You can't. Obama ran on hope, right? You're dealing with politics, right? So we're talking class. So this is the Martin Luther King angle of don't see color and all. Look, you talk class consciousness. You're poor, I'm poor. Period. We don't gotta kill the fluff, right? You need toilet paper, I need toilet paper, right? So we're not talking about actual things you can touch, right? We are poor. You are poor, right? So you come together with your class. You have the same class. How can you come together with love? What does that even mean? We can't taste it. It's something that is extremely abstract. How do you bring that into real time? Because if everybody leaves here and they eat steak and I'm eating oodles and noodles, fuck love. Fuck love. I'm trying to get that steak, right? So that shit is fluff, bro. And it's always a democratic angle to a virtue signal and morality and love and hope. Nigga, what? We got potholes in the street. Can we get it fixed? Miss me with all the other shit.
Okay, so it seemed like Ken would to get to the hood stuff because we saying that Jasmine Crockett
because I'm black.
No, we'll play this because we say that Jasmine Crockett has not been a good role model to these girls. So these girls are being talked about by the conservative people. So we'll play the video.
Have been charged
Oh
with
yeah, this
felonies
came
after
across
a
my
fight broke
algorithm.
out over demanding too much ketchup. The girls placed an order at the drive-thru window and asked the employee for more than a dozen ketchup packets. The employee told them there would be a small additional charge and processed the payment on their card, which reportedly totaled about $1. The girls immediately became upset and demanded their money back. The employee explained that the charge followed store policy and refused to issue a refund. The situation escalated quickly. The girls began kicking the drive-thru window, eventually shattering the glass. They also threw drinks, food, and packaging around the service area, leaving the store in disarray.
Oh, you didn't even
During
play the
incident,
clip
one
I
girl
sent
lost her
you
Crocs
with it,
inside
like
the
them
store and
acting
demanded that the
crazy.
employee pick them up and return them, but the employee refused. Despite the destruction, the girls did not recover their money and fled the scene. Employees later gave meal vouchers to customers who had been waiting in line, including one person who was waiting for a lemonade. Police were called and are now working to identify the suspects. Authorities said the damage to the property could lead to felony vandalism and related charges once the girls are located and arrested. Do you think going to jail for Wendy's Burgers is worth it?
Me, I'm gonna play your clip after, but I'm gonna ask you this. So the whole problem is that Jasmine Crockett is acting hood, right? Black girls acting hood. So what's the solution? What is the solution that these girls don't act quote unquote hood or street or whatever they're doing?
So I think the clear difference between Jasmine Crockett and those girls is Jasmine Crockett is just putting on a mask to appeal to the masses, to a voter base. That is not who she is. She's not acting like that. She's a lawyer. She's not committing felonious crime over $1. Those girls are just ignorant and clearly lack a lot when it comes to common sense, intelligence, forward thinking, forethought, afterthought. And clearly their families didn't raise them right, because I could tell you with abject certainty, I would absolutely not act that way. I would not tear apart something over $1, but that's just me. I don't know. Maybe other people are different, but I feel like it's apples and oranges, because Jasmine Crockett's she's way above those girls' levels. She's just putting on a mask to get votes. Those girls are the real deal. Hopefully they go to prison, do some time, and maybe come out a little fucking smarter, because that's crazy. If they're willing to do all of that for a simple packet of ketchup that's worth $1, I can only imagine what they're going to do to maybe a child when they're absolutely angry and inflamed. So it brings up some other issues with that.
But if their diet consists of Wendy's, Fanta, sugar, right? Sugar Kool-Aid, right? We know that food has an effect on people's behavior, right? So you're literally on drugs. This shit is a narcotic, right? So that's based on class. And if that's your diet, Wendy's, right? McDonald's, right? Aspartame, MSG, sugar, starch, right? In your diet. To expect people to behave, food affects people's behavior, though.
However, but we can't absolve people from decent behavior because of what they eat. There are plenty of people in the world that eat terribly who would never do something like that. Maybe it's different neurons in their synapses firing off. I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, like, regardless of what it is, I mean, people still have to act couth with a little bit of decorum. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit of decorum. Eating shitty food does not give you a free pass to be a crappy person. Plenty of people eat shitty food and they're not crappy people.
But I think it's like interesting, because I've had a thing at the drive-thru and I was like, let me step out my car real quick, because somebody was acting disrespectful and just was not doing stuff like they should have been doing. I think that it's funny when they label certain things hood and ghetto, but like if I would have done it, they would have been like, oh, she's just upset because her food wasn't done correctly, or because it's kind of outrageous that I'm spending money with you and you want to charge me for like Boosie Badass was like, he freaked out because of a jelly, he wanted extra jelly and they wanted to charge him, and he's a millionaire and he's like, why? It is annoying. I think the difference is that the way that they label in the media likes to highlight stuff like this, but what they won't highlight is that nurse that broke the bones of 11 Black children, and then she got off with a plea deal and was bonded out and was able to go home, and but she talked nicely though, but her voice was kept under a certain tone of voice. She wasn't screaming, she wasn't clapping her hands, so she's less dangerous. When in reality, when we look at actually what's, both demographic of people or different groups of people, we may act a little different, but there are people that are out here actually doing mass shootings and breaking bones of babies, and the news refuse to highlight that type of interaction.
Okay, I'm gonna play the version with the audio and let Mr. Rippy respond.
Suba el sueldo, vea. Deja de tomar todo. Deja, please, come in, please. Deja poner tu más robo over here. Deja broken the window. Deja broken the window over here. Deja saber tu más robo. Get the crop. Give me my cross, bitch. Give me my... ¿Ya tomaron las placas ahora? Sí. Okay. Give me my cross. No, ya te... Ahí está, quítense. Deja come please. Well.
Mr. Riffy.
Man, turn up, man.
You know, I ain't finna make no excuses for these kids, and I'm not about the whataboutism and stuff like that, because you know I was at Waffle House one day, actually in Texas, as a matter of fact, and a bunch of rednecks up there just started fighting and acting all ratchet too. So all I'm saying is that shit just gave them ketchup. Problem solved. Get them people to more ketchup, man.
And time out. Ain't this, hold on, but on a smaller level, ain't this the American way? Don't we act like this with our foreign policy when we don't get our way? Right? We see our government do this. So why do the citizens got to behave and the government don't got to behave?
Well, let's send those girls to Iran. They fuck some motherfuckers up. They ready for battles. Chip them out.
You know what I'm saying? Like
they ready.
We in Iran doing shit right now. So why does the regular American have to be the moral standard? I don't care what color they is, right? Our people that have major power don't go by that shit. They don't. But we at the bottom, right, with nothing, we have to be the moral standard more than people with power. I ain't with that. Turn up. Fuck that shit up. We over in Iran. Fuck it up. Ain't that the American way?
I feel you. Did y'all know that she said in that video that her pastor is who took her seat that she gave up. But if y'all don't know who he is, this is who he is.
Recognize that we got to be pro-Israel. Yeah, we got to do that, or we get in trouble. Well, I'm coming to get in trouble. Israel, and I'm gonna quote Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter says that Israel is engaging in apartheid with Palestinians. And so the Palestinians who don't have the weaponry of Israel, the Palestinians don't have the financial backing from the United States that Israel has. And so they throw their rocks and shoot their arrows, and Israel is able to bomb them and kill them. Watch in the news the disparity between Palestinians being killed and Israelis being killed. It is totally unfair, but this country is going to stand on the side of apartheid because that's its track record. It stood by apartheid in South Africa because it created apartheid in this country.
Well, that's who replaced her, so don't seem like it's going to be really that much of a difference. But great show, guys. So I always play Cardi B on here, so I ended a Cardi B clip, and then we'll do our final thoughts.
Y'all, early primary voting is happening right now in Texas, and we need Jasmine Crockett to win. She is running for U.S. Senate, and if you want somebody that's going to fight for your right, if you want somebody to fight for your community, if you want somebody that's going to go up
there
Jasmine
lost.
And represent you and represent your issues, please vote for my sister Jasmine Crockett. Because one thing about
last time
she's
she endorsed a woman was Kamala, and she lost.
She has to, so your voice and your problems could be heard. Vote right now. This counts so much. Vote right now.
This shit is hard to defend, man. Damn.
If you watch it right now, hit that subscribe button and press that notification bell.
And my Patriots lost. She's 3 for 3, man.
What's your final thoughts, Mia?
My final thoughts are, I guess, would be very simple. Don't catch a felony charge for $1. Don't be a fucking idiot. Don't catch a felony. Don't let your anger destroy your life. potentially put you in prison over a felony charge for a couple ketchup packets that are worth $1. It really isn't worth it. You could always complain to the manager and get a coupon. Don't go to jail over ketchup packets. Okay. Let that be a lesson.
Mr. Ripley, what's your final thoughts?
My final thought, great show as always. I would say people love authenticity. People like authentic people. So if anybody out there thinking about running for political office like I am, just be authentic. Don't be fake. Don't dumb yourself down. Don't pander. Don't pander. Don't do what other people do. Just be yourself, and people will respect you a lot more.
Skeptic?
Yeah, I think the loss for the primary was a sad one. However, I do think that Democrats broke a lot of records in Texas. And so I do want to highlight that we had, I want to say it was the record vote number for Democrats for a primary. So I'm really proud of that. I do think that a lot of districts are going to flip blue. And I do think that we have a good chance of flipping the whole state of Texas blue. So I'm excited about that. We may have a lost, but it's not all lost. We still have primaries to come in November. So I'm going to take a couple days. I have a hard time swallowing this Talarico pill, but I'm going to swallow it. And then I'm going to move forward and we're going to support him. And the blue wave is here. Like I've been saying, it's not coming. It's already here. And we're about to show this administration and we're going to show America that we don't like the tyranny that's going on. We don't like the terrorism that they're doing for all communities. We don't like them trying to go backwards and attacking our voting rights and attacking civil rights and trying to take away the protections that we have so far. So let's stick together and let's vote Democrat during midterms.
Ken, what's your final thoughts?
I don't think we're going to see midterms. I think that'll be suspended because we'll have wartime, because the only way that there can be regime change in Iran is through a ground invasion. So I think we're going to be dragged into a full-scale war, and I think those midterms are going to be suspended, and I think that's by design. And while I'm on that topic, it definitely makes me think of Charlie Kirk. I wasn't a fan, but I didn't dislike him either. I'm indifferent. And I really think that it would be very hard to sell this war if Charlie Kirk was alive. For some reason, I think he would be opposed to it. And he had the ear of people under 35 years old. And I think where he was treading, especially in regards to Israel, his absence is very loud right now. And I think he would have been in opposition to this war, and it would have been a very hard sell. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to I don't believe there's going to be any midterms, though.
Well, I want to play the clip because Skeptic brought it up about the turnout, so I'm going to play this clip real quick.
What's exciting is that whether it be Talarico or Crockett, there's a lot of enthusiasm behind both. And you're seeing Democratic enthusiasm, whether it be New Jersey, Virginia, Iowa, Oklahoma, or even Arkansas tonight. In Texas itself, Democratic turnout has doubled since 2022. Trump's net approval has dropped 20 points. You have Cornyn, who's 13 points underwater. You have Paxton, who used public resources to cover up his affair, underwater by 9 points. Meanwhile, Crockett's net positive 10 points, and Talarico's net positive 18 points, right? So, there are 5 people on the ballot tonight, but this is really about one person, Donald Trump. And if you look at the national wins, it's a problem for Republicans in Texas.
So, yeah, I guess it was a shock. Skeptic was right. Thank you guys for watching. Man Cave, we do this every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Have a good night.
Before we wrap, I want to take a quick moment to talk about how you can support the new party. We are an independent media platform. No corporate backers, no political handlers, just a collection of voices representing all American viewpoints, especially the stories they don't want you talking about.
I'm disgusted with our government, and it doesn't matter which party you're talking about. I'm disgusted.
We are watching an act of genocide. I don't know how else to put it. There are thousands of people getting killed every day.
This is the first time in history that an American cardinal has ever been elevated to pope. It is legitimately make America great again.
Yeah.
Like, they're fighting for illegal immigrants, not immigrants. Illegal. Like, and they burning the flag and shit.
Like I always say, it was a great episode. I'm happy with the wins that Donald Trump's.
Like you heard Nora Skeptic say, we're going to keep bringing like different types of content and things that we know people want to see. And like we always say on the New Party, always vote.
If you believe Americans can still have civil discourse, even in these polarizing times, we need your help to stay independent and keep growing. You can support us by donating to our GoFundMe page, becoming a channel member, sending a super chat, or grabbing merch from the New Party store. Every donation goes directly toward growing the channel promotion and our upcoming documentary. And as a thank you, donors will receive an exclusive copy of the documentary 1 week before it premieres. Who is the New Party? We're you, your voice, your stories, your America. We can only do this together. So if you're able, please donate and help us get the message out.